Hey YouTube, how's everybody doing today? Hey, I just wanted to get in here real quick, make this video for you guys. Past few weeks I've been having some technical difficulties with my iPhone, and I just couldn't get videos put out like I wanted to. And I've got some stuff I want to share with you guys. I just haven't got to the point where I've done it yet. This is the first video I put out since I got the issues resolved. And today's video I want to put out is a little video that I would have never expected to have to do something like this, but it just turned out that way. So what happened is this. Last Friday, about 2:30 in the morning, I was in my easy chair in the living room. I had fell asleep, and wife, God love her, she just left me sleep in the chair. I got up about 2:30, and I realized how late it was and everything. And I decided to just go ahead and stay up, because it wouldn't be very long before I'd have to get up anyway and go to work. So I'm getting a few things together, getting stuff kind of ready to go, and I had to get a shower. So I went and got everything ready for that, got in the shower, got all cleaned up and everything, and I was just rinsing off, and I noticed in the bathroom window that there were flashing police lights outside. So now I knew that these lights were coming between the houses from the guy in back of me and the guy next to him on the corner. There's a little side street that comes off the street that I live on, where my street kind of makes a turn around as you come up through there. Anyway, they were up on that side street, and I could tell because when I looked out the window to where I could see, the lights were flashing still, and they were reflecting off houses on the back street behind me. So I was just wondering, kind of absent-mindedly, what the police were doing there this early in the morning. And I was just about ready to get out of the tub, and I thought I saw something out of the corner of my eye, some movement. But I wasn't sure because of the fact that I'd had cataract surgery done a few months back, and I still get these floaters, but where I really didn't notice them once before, now my vision is so sharp and defined from the surgery that, yeah, I see them, all the time. Any least little speck of anything that adheres to my eyeball, and yep, I see it as a floater. So anyway, I was about to chalk it up to that and turn around and get out of the tub and dry off, and I saw something for sure move again. And I looked and looked and looked, and my first thought was, what the heck is the neighbor's dog doing in my yard? Then I realized it wasn't the neighbor's dog. It was somebody creeping along my yard, along my back fence, on all fours. So instantly I was outraged that somebody was creeping around my yard at 3 o'clock, 3:15 in the morning, whatever time it was by them. And so I opened up the window full, and I yelled out at them at the top of my lungs, "You better get out of my yard, I'm calling the law," and all this and that. Scared the living daylights out of them. they jumped up so fast and started running across my yard, and I kept yelling at them, and they got to the corner of my yard, and the 3 neighbors on, the corners of me, and jumped the side fence into my neighbor on the downhill side of me. And, I'm still yelling, yeah, you better run, I'm calling the law, And about that time, my wife come walking in the bathroom. What are you yelling about? I thought you were yelling at the cats or something that's stupid that they did. And I told her, said, nope, there's somebody out in the backyard creeping around in the backyard. And her eyes got real big, and she's like, are you kidding? I was like, no, I'm not kidding. She said, well, you better call the police. And I was like, yeah, the police are already in the area, honey. I think he's running from the police. But, yeah, I'm going to call him and tell him, he's down here. Whoever he is they're looking for. Because I was sure they were looking for him. And so, yeah, I called him, talked to the dispatcher, told her, my name, and gave her my address and all that stuff, and the information about the prowler in the neighborhood in my yard. Jumped the fence, into my neighbor's yard. And she's like, well, can you hold on just a second? I said, sure. And she got on the radio talking with the units in the area. Then she comes back to me and says, can you still see them where you're at? And I told her, no, they've already jumped the fence into one of my neighbor's yards and on the downhill side of me, and, I've just lost sight of them. She's like, okay, well, we've got units in the area. I'll get them down your way as quick as I can. And it's like, yeah, I saw the lights, so, I figured they were looking for somebody. And so she thanked me, and hung up. So I'm out, drying off. I get out, get the clothes on. Oh, no, I was already out by then. I'm sorry. So anyway, yeah, I'm out talking with the wife after hanging up with the police. We're standing in the kitchen kind of speculating what's going on. And so about that time, this is just a few minutes after I hung up with this dispatcher, I happened to be looking out the kitchen window, and I noticed flashlights playing around, looking in the backyard and stuff from the side between me and my neighbor where he jumped across the fence. And then just as I was about to say something to her about the flashlights, I seen something out of the corner of my right eye and thought, what the heck's this now? And I looked, and so here's another cop in my yard with his flashlight looking around, and he got about 3/4 of the way across the backyard, and I seen he had his hand on his service revolver or pistol. Yeah, I won't say revolver because they don't carry revolvers anymore, but yeah, service pistol. And the first words I heard, because we had the window open slightly, was, hold it right there, we've got you covered. So, yeah, that told me he jumped into my neighbor's yard and was hiding somewhere in my neighbor's yard, hoping to wait until they had gone away so he could get back out and go wherever he was going to go to. So, after all this happened, I'm talking with wife, and I'm like, I'm going to go outside and see if they're still hanging outside here somewhere and see what, maybe what's going on. Well, by the time I was getting my coat on, the wife was looking out the front window, but she didn't see anything out front except a cop up the street from us, the opposite way from a neighbor where he jumped the fence. And all of a sudden she's like, what the heck's this big semi truck in our neighborhood? And I thought, what are you talking about, semi truck? Yeah, a big semi truck, I think. Like, well, that would be really crazy because, we're small little residential streets, and, a semi truck would be hard pressed to get through our neighborhood. Well, I got outside and I finally figured it out. It was a towing company's roll-off truck. Or rollback, I'm sorry, rollback truck. And he had pulled up beside the cop that was sitting up the street and had proceeded to back up into a driveway on my side of the street and began loading up a large four-wheel drive truck. And I thought, what the heck is this now? So by that time, you know, it was about time for me to go to work. And they loaded up, pulled out, and the cop pulled out right behind him. Went up to the end of the street and turned and left the neighborhood. So I'm like, well, we'll never know. But then again, it turned out that, yeah, I would know. Because later on that afternoon, after I got home from work, I was walking over to talk to one of my neighbors. We kind of watch out for each other's stuff. You know, it's there's 3 or 4 of us in, you know, right in close here by each other. And yeah, we're always looking out for each other's property because, you know, we do have a little bit of crime. You know, I wouldn't say in an overly ordinate amount of crime, but we do have some. But we, you know, tend to keep watch on each other's properties because we do have kind of a neighborhood watch thing going. A lot of the neighbors watch out for each other that way. And I was talking to him about it, and he's like, well, let me tell you what happened. I've got the whole story. So, yeah, I want to find out about this, you know. So he started telling me what had happened was, right about the time that I had woke up out of my easy chair was the time that a bunch of these people up the street and on that side, or on my side, had pulled up in that big four-wheel drive truck. And it was pouring rain, folks. Let me tell you, it was just pouring the rain that morning. And they pulled up in the truck with music blaring at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever. And pulled up and left the engine running, left the music blaring, and the doors standing wide open. And they just walked up in the yard and up under the front porch awning of that particular house and was hanging out there. And he told me that he was just about ready to go across the street and say something to him. And he noticed one of his other neighbors was out, so he stepped out, and they got talking to each other across the way. And he's like, yeah, I was going to go over here and tell these guys to kind of tone it down a little bit. People's trying to sleep. And his neighbor told him, yeah, that's a good idea, because I was just about ready to call it law. I was like, yeah. I'll give them time to tone it down, but, you know, I won't bet on anything. So he started to walk across the street, and about that time he stopped midway in the street and decided better against it and walked back to his house. And he told me the reason he decided against it was because back in the day he used to do a little bit of drugs himself, and said instantly he saw the lighters going and he knew exactly what they were up to. So he figured, yeah, better let the law handle this one. So that's when he went in the house and called the police. He's the one that actually called the police and made the initial complaint. So the first unit rolled up, and he was still standing out on his front porch watching the whole thing. And this cop got out of his unit and started to go up and confront these guys. And one of these old boys, and we'll just say, you know, they're all of a certain ethnicity. and we'll leave it go at that. Not to cast any aspersions against anybody's character of that particular ethnic race or anything, but a lot of people kind of frown on these folks for one reason or another. You know, that's their business. I don't look at it that way. I just look at a person's character myself. But as soon as the cop confronted these old boys, this one that was about 6'3", 6'4", something like that, weighed around about 300 pounds, he started getting up in the cop's face, getting all mouthy with him. And next thing you know, they were wrestling. And he's throwing that cop around, and the cop would get right back up and go right back at him. And my neighbor, of course, was watching this, and, you know, he saw that it was going to be like 3 or 4 against 1 if he didn't hurry up and do something. So he ran across the street and yelled at the cop, "Don't worry, officer, I've got your back." And about that time, they all looked at him, seen him coming, and he's a pretty good-sized boy. Not fat or, you know, anything like that. He's a kind of a bigger guy like me. I'm 6 foot and probably weigh around about 220, 230 right now myself. But anyway, they all decided to scatter. A couple of them ran in the house, and the one ran down the street and disappeared between a neighbor's house, which he was the one that ended up in my backyard. And just about the time he was going to throw in with the police officer, you know, to kind of, you know, help him with this big old boy, because I'm telling you folks, he's 6'3", 6'4", weighs at least 300 pounds. Just before he was ready to help, another unit rolled up. Lights are flashing, you know, he caught it, and saw it. And the first thing he did, he throwed out his hands, you know, let them know that, yep, I'm not part of this. I'm just here to help this officer, back him up. So they all converged on this big old guy, got him in handcuffs, and my neighbor just walked back across the street and just kept watching the whole thing. And there were 5 jurisdictions eventually involved in all this. And a couple of them were backing up 1 or 2 officers that had got the message from the dispatcher about coming down by my house. And that's the ones that I saw with the flashlights, you know, playing around in mine in the neighbor's yard. And they're the ones that got the, you know, guy that was in my neighbor's yard. And there was a K-9 unit involved in this, of course. And so turns out that the reason that they took the truck was there was paraphernalia and other things in the truck, and it was going to police impound. So I'm sitting there taking all this in. He's telling it to me. And I was like, wow, you know, so we talked a little bit more. And finally I told him, I said, well, you know, yeah, good to know somebody's up and moving around, you know, besides me, you know, early in the morning. He's like, yeah, I've just, you know, heard them pull up because they were right across the street from him. And he said, you know, yeah, I couldn't believe they were just playing radio that loud this early in the morning. Yeah. So, with all this said, I talked to the wife later about this, and we have decided to up our security a little bit. We're going to put in more lights. We do have a camera system, but the thing is, a short while back, it finally took a dive. The DVR system took a dive, And we've still got the cameras up, but we haven't been able to replace the DVR system yet. So we're going to see about getting that all taken care of. And definitely adding more security lights and everything, because our backyard is really a dark place at night. So I was just fortunate and able to see this guy in my backyard, because my neighbor right directly behind me has a security light in the back of his house. And that's what silhouetted him to where I was able to see him creeping in my backyard. So, yeah, we're going to up our security measures considerably now that this has happened. And I just wanted to put this out there for you guys so that you would maybe think about your own security measures and take a good hard look at what you've got or what you may not have, and consider adding to it. If you don't have security cameras, as fairly inexpensive as they are, and I know for some people they might be expensive, but for the little bit of peace of mind that you get by knowing the fact that you have a recorded piece of the event, that whatever happens, you can use this to, help law enforcement to maybe make a case against somebody for something. Yeah, there's folks, I know everybody's thinking, it's the surveillance state, there's cameras everywhere and they're watching this and they're watching that. Well, that can be a good thing, but then, yeah, that can be a bad thing. But if you have something like that happen at your place, I would think that that's a good thing if it captures it. So, just a thought. Remember, the camera doesn't blink. So, yeah, take it for what it's worth. But anyway, yeah, just something to think about. Look at your own property. Look at it from the standpoint of, if I was a thief or a crook or whatever, and I was doing something nefarious, would this be good for me as far as this particular piece of property? And look at it with the eye that, they're looking at. You don't have lights here, you don't have lights there. That's good, because now I can creep around and you won't see me. Because everybody knows that the criminal element is kind of like cockroaches. They don't like when somebody shines the light on them and exposes their criminal activities. First thing they want to do is run, just like a cockroach. You shine the lights on turn the lights on the cockroach, they run, they scatter like crazy, because they know that the boot's coming. So there you go. I just wanted to get this out here for you guys. So take a look around, see what you think about your own, and if you can work on it, and it's a simple fix, like maybe some extra lights, maybe a small camera system that you can install to watch certain things. With all the stuff that's going on nowadays, like you see all these videos about these porch pirates stealing packages from Amazon and other things off people's porches all the time. Yeah, I get that. It's a good thing to have the ring thing for that, I guess. But most places, if you have something that you've ordered that you know that you're not going to be able to take delivery of it when they actually bring it, you have two options for that. If you have a more secure place, say maybe a back door that's inside a gated yard, where it's not visible from the road, and you can leave special orders for, you know, the delivery person to put it there. That's one of your options. Or if you know somebody that's going, a trusted friend, family member, whatever, that's going to be home at that time, that they can take delivery of it and you can get it from them later, that's a good option too. So yeah, just something to think about with all that. But the point is, you have all this criminal activity like that right in broad daylight. And a camera, like I said, camera doesn't blink. And you might just get lucky if something's stolen from your place with the camera footage. The police just might actually know the person that they're looking at on the video and know who to exactly go after. So just a little something to think about. I know some people don't like the camera thing because, you know, maybe they have something that they, you know, don't want on camera. It's always a possibility. But I would think most people are okay with cameras. So, yeah, just a little something to think about. So anyway, folks, you know, that's my video for today. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Leave any comments. We appreciate either positive or negative comments. We don't care. And if you're not subscribed to my channel already, I hope you will subscribe, because I've got a lot of great content coming. And now that you know, I'm able to record videos again, I'm going to start doubling down on everything. Of course, now, because of the YouTube algorithm, there's something about that algorithm that it doesn't like people putting out a video every single day. So with the content that I haven't been able to put out for the last couple weeks, I'm going to start maybe doing one every other day till I can get caught up. But I'm going to try and be getting at least 2 a week out on a regular basis, because I do have a lot of great content. And even doing 2 a week, I just made a quick calculation, because I write all these ideas for videos down. By my calculation, I have at least enough for a couple years. Do one twice a week. So not too bad. Not too bad at all, I would think. And I'm sure that, you know, some of the stuff that I'm going to be doing videos on, some people will really like. You know, at least I hope so. So anyway, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified instantly when my next video comes out. So y'all take care. Have a wonderful day. And yeah, take a good look at your own security measures. Do you need to improve yours? So have a good one, and we'll see you again real soon.